to do some playing, and explaining. Here on Carrot Corner, what an intro. The inability to speak is something that haunts me around this time of day. Got my coffee here, had lunch a while ago, midday slump. Anyone else get that? Just get a bit lazy around midday. Some poker with the intention of finding the best line. As you can see, we are running hot. We have pocket queens under the gun. We have the flames around the VPIP. We have a 29 VPIP. That have a crazy lag. And also, we won 40 big blinds or something when we were setting up the video. Probably gonna lose it all back with queens now. Going to always play call against the big blind range. I don't think 4-bet reopening against this tight a configuration makes much sense. 10-10 forward, expect a lot of betting. They go for 2/3 pot. I'm not going to be playing any raise here whatsoever. Just going to be calling queens. The annoying thing about this spot is that jacks isn't really meant to be a big part of their range in this configuration. Are there some lines where we like don't get stacked by aces and kings here? Yeah, probably. Is there any advantage at all to shoving? It maximizes against ace king with a heart only. I'll just call. It's close on turn. I think you mainly just want to be playing call. And to go for 3 streets, we have queens with a heart. We're not meant to fold this spot, obviously. We might be value chopping the other queens combo. I'm not going to fold with a heart. I think queens without a heart, I could fold. Queen 10 offsuit, huh? Wow. Standard 3-bet. And over here, this is kind of weird. Kind of weird run out. I think villain has like a lot of like pair plus diamond, like queens, diamond, tens, diamond, etc. Just fairly bit river, fairly big. Especially without the second big diamond block calling range. So, yeah, kind of unfortunate start with queens. I don't think there's a whole lot we can do. The only real decision there, I think, is whether to shove turn or call turn. And I think call turn just maximizes a bit against any low EV bluffs that are in there. You just never know, right? You just, even though it's not a spot people are bluffing that often, you never know how many low EV bluffs could be in a random person's range. And I think we do similarly against ace king with a heart anyway. It's probably slightly better to raise the turn against that, but not a huge deal. Against jacks, if jacks is playing that way, I don't expect it super often from those positions, but it's probably, again, a bit better to shove the turn, just in case of action killing river. So really close spot. Easy fold with queen jack here against the 3-bet. Yeah, I don't think we can do much differently there. 4-bet pre and win the pot from the obnoxious queen 10 off that is 3-betting as small blind, a big blind against under the gun. Very weird, like some kind of yeah, folding river is honestly like probably not that absurd in that configuration. It's probably not a fold, but it's a little bit close. I don't have a good button. I resized these for post flop. I don't know why the buttons on GG are like that, where suddenly it switches to percent pot buttons and not big blind buttons. Maybe there's a setting for that I'm missing. Queen 4, I am just going to defend. I'm not going to play any, I'm not going to roll any 3-bet with this hand in this spot. Ace queen offsuit, really close in these configurations. I'm going to go with fold, but I don't really care. Going to be playing a lot of lead in this spot. You can do all kinds of sizes. I'm going to pure lead my hand. I think it's the best play. It's not going to get reopened that often. So check raising is out. I just don't think it goes check, check, bet that frequently if we check turn. I do think that sometimes if we wait until river to bluff, we just get called by like ace king on a brick run out. So I prefer just leading immediately. What's up, Crazy Times? Good to see you. Yeah, going to do a little bit 2 tables. We're feeling a bit sluggish here. Not properly in the mood for the mass multi-tabling, the four tabling fast fold today, which does get very quick on GG with the time bank situation. Have all the backdoors in the world facing kind of normal size raise here. I'm just going to be folding. I'd expect this spot to be a little bit underdone, probably. And hand is obviously just not really a defend anyway in these positions at all. So how you guys doing today? What is new? What's going on? This was the guy with the Queen 10, right? He's going to get the fish tag. Don't think Queen 10 off. Maybe Queen 10 off is one of those weird hands that's meant to get in there sometimes. I don't think so in those positions. It's certainly very rare to see it from a human. Cosmo Pennypacker, what's going on? Welcome to the stream over there on Twitch. Yeah, that was a pretty random hand for Villain to show up with. That would not have been my first guess. Like Ace 10 suited, maybe, sometimes. It is a part of the game tree I didn't really think about, though, like losing to a 10. It is a relevant part of the game tree. I just think with the Queen of Hearts, it's just incredibly difficult to want to fold that spot. Unblocking Ace King with a heart, which is the main bluff, dropping queens, beating jacks in case it's like overextending. Yeah, it's tough to get away from that 3-1 on river. That's probably not right either. We're going a bit more polar than sevens here, but not folding to c-bet in this late configuration. Skirmish. I will play small raise here, but not with sevens. It's worth learning how to play a small raise strategy in spots like this against lazy range bet and just pulling that off, because by doing so you just take your opponents into a less familiar region of the game tree more often. Going to be reopening for pot or check here, and it's going to be based around good jack plus, ace jack plus, something like that. River, we do have the seven of spades. I don't think it's massively important. Most hands containing the seven of spades are just going to bet the turn, so they're not going to be on this node. So I don't think in real life this blocker has too much of an impact. What I will go on is the fact that people just have too much air here because they just bet too many flush draws in general and just don't have enough flushes, let alone flushes containing the seven of spades in this line. So I'm not going to be folding against bet there as a default approach with that hand. I mean, don't get me wrong, the seven of spades is better than other sevens to have because it's more likely that villain will take a non-spade seven to the bet check bet bluff line. And so you do still want that card. I just don't think it's like immensely blocking of flushes. It is more unblocking of air. However, we definitely want to be in, I want to say both of these hands. I think we have like two recreational players here. We want to be looking at flop. I'd definitely peel 8-7 against the 37 VPIP always. Against half pot, I'm not going to check raise against early position here. On this board, I'd expect it to be underfolded, because once they size up a little bit, they still have to adjust to the wetness of the board and find folds. Here, however, it's much closer against lazy range bet. It's what I'm calling this from now on. I think playing small raise here, this hand is fine. I'm just going to do it pure. From small blind, we're going to have some king, queen, king, jack suited that's doing that. In practice, I'll usually 3-bet those hands, but like technically I can have them, then it sets, etc. Probably I'm over bluffing there, like quite honestly, but that's fine. Gonna go small 3-bet here with aces. King 10, very borderline in hijack. I'll just pass on the spot because I've got aces going on. It's possible I'll have to use my brain, so we'll just keep the action to a minimum there with a break-even hand. It's a better way than RNGing to decide if you want to play a hand. It's just observing action on other tables. Queen 8-3, we're going to play our one big blind. In range one big blind. How do you feel about the rake situation on GG? People ask me this a lot. I think it's hard. You need to play really exploitatively. I think the games are beatable. I'm very confident they're beatable, but it's harder than it used to be. And a higher percentage of your win rate depends on rake back than it used to. That's where I come down on that. I'm playing B100 check here, so just going to check. And we go ahead and smash an 8 on the river here. Still lose to some parts of villain's range like Jack 10, etc. Now I'm mostly going to be playing, I think B100 is going to be the raise size against this. Want to play any 200? I don't think so. I'll just play 100 here. In the new course, I'm building like most of the sizes are based around B100, B200 on turn and river. Not exclusively, there are some giant overbet spots, there are some smaller bet spots on different textures, but yeah. I 4-bet bluff the river with 0% equity. Well, it's better to bluff the river with 0% equity than 35, right? I mean, that's an improvement over bluffing with 35% equity. So at least you've got your polarization down, my friend. I'm going to just exploit 5 big blinds this against the 62 VPIP. I'd expect just any 2 cards to be, you know, worth doing this with. Going to go small c-bet here with some backdoors. If they're really volatile, you can check like the really worthless hands there. I think Jack 5 honestly like has enough going for it, and we get limp raised so infrequently that I'll still just go 5 big blinds. It's better against like a 40, somewhat paradoxically, it's better against like a 40 VPIP than like a 68 VPIP, because the 68 VPIP is going to be more prone to just like never folding. So you could convince me against 68 it's better to check Jack 5 and just raise like Jack 6 suited plus or something. But against like most limpers, like any 2 cards is going to be fair game for that line, because it's a very, very overfolded, underdefended, underfought sort of situation. So the best line there's usually to attack, but as villain's VPIP gets monstrously high, you might just find that they just don't ever fold and do spewy stuff. I'll play a little bit of cold call. I probably shouldn't. I should probably just take the 3-bet node, but against a reg, I don't mind mixing this in sometimes, just being a little bit unpredictable. What are we playing here? Small and check, and I think the hand's a pure check. It's very likely the villain's range checking here. We're extremely middling. We're not vulnerable because we dominate their air. Very easy check down. River's kind of interesting. I think we have the best hand here a lot because I think they have ace queen a lot here, but they can also have like 4s, ace 5, stuff like this that probably doesn't fold if we attack. So I don't think it's worth just making them fold chops. Betting small to get value from ace queen is also a thing. Like it's either going to be like 1.3 big blinds or like some giant bet. Giant bet's trying to like make villain fold chops and pocket pairs and things like that, and 1 big blind is trying to get called by ace queen, ace jack, and I think enough of their range is mostly hands like that that both of those lines are kind of valid. Always 3-betting here though. And no reads on the villain. I'm just going to c-bet half pot because their range is far too wide for this cold call. There's plenty of turns I can be aggressive on, and starting with check. With this prosperous hand, it can't really check raise or check call easily against a volatile looking player is likely not best. Even though I would check a lot there in general, I think the best line is bet. Against that player, do a lot of double barreling, expect them to land on flop too wide, turn too wide, and any overcard turn, straightening turn, spade, like we can go ahead and continue to be aggressive against what is too wide of a starting range. Ace 5, you can kind of go either way here. This time we're against like a more reggy player. We are just going to be playing our range. Do I want to start leading? I definitely want the leading range in play here. And I kind of prefer to ensure pot growth, generate fold equity rather than check raise here. I think it just plays a bit better as a bet. There's some reasons for this. I won't go into all of them. Default play here with ace 9 is going to be call to this line. You can raise. I expect to see 2 fairly capped ranges when my small bet doesn't get raised here. I am going to go ahead and blast this turn. Expect to get pretty good fold equity despite being multi-way. And against the bigger flop sizing with ace 9 specifically, I mean, I guess I shouldn't really bluff this combo. Villain just saying it's like a queen here for the most part. I am going to just shove the river here. I have bad blockers, but I'm going to do it anyway. Yeah, I don't think there's much we can do on the right-hand side. The reason I'm going to do it anyway is just like I need it to get through 50% of the time, and I think most of the opponent's range is just 1 pair below a king. I don't know though. you could convince me that there's actually showdown in checking. I mean, there is some showdown in checking. The question is it enough? I don't know. Kind of close spot. Obviously, if you don't have spades, you have a higher EV bluff than when you have ace-x of spades, but it doesn't mean that it's not still a good spot. I mean, king x of spades beats you. Some of their range, it's only going to be a handful of combos. I think most of their range is still like pocket pair, pair on the board, that sort of thing. I don't know about river. Every time I range bet, that's exactly what I think Villain's thinking. Lazy range bet. It's been working the micro. So yeah, it does work. I mean, it works really well. It's not to say you shouldn't sometimes pick a different line with certain hands, like maybe you should, but it does work really well. And when I say I'm attacking a lazy range bet, I'm well aware that like the majority of your opponent's guys aren't attacking your lazy range bets, and so it's not a bad way to start out when you start playing poker. Like it's not, I'm not hating on it as a practical way of playing at low stakes. I'm just attacking it because there's opportunity there if you're more astute about where they're doing it too often and where they can handle aggression because of that. Play range check, lazy range check on this texture. Ace queen, I think, is just a pure fold, unfortunately, even to third pot on this horrific board. Ace king, I think, gets indifferent. I think ace queen is a pure fold, no backdoor, because the pair quality, the pair draw outs are just a lot worse. Paddy on Twitch says it's been a few years of not playing or not watching poker. When did you leave Poker Stars and go on GG? The games were just terrible. Like there were hardly any fish. The 200 game was barely running. Like it just it basically died. Like Poker Stars basically died. They did a very, very bad job, in my opinion, of fighting in the market and maintaining their market share. They didn't do enough to attract recreational players. GG just did a phenomenal job, frankly, of attracting recreational players. And that's not to say I like GG or think that, like, I have any affiliation with them. I don't think that, you know, this is a wonderful place to play poker. I think it's kind of the lesser of the shit places to play poker at the moment. But Poker Stars just lost all of their traffic, and when you lose all of your traffic, you lose the recreationals, you then lose the regulars in turn, and then you just have no one. And that's kind of what's happened. I hope they can like rebuild somehow. Back in the day, Stars was a company with a ton of integrity. They were like by far market leaders. They were doing super well, but when DNegs left and went to GG, it was nothing but downhill from there. Obviously, when you lose DNegs, you kind of lose the house, right? When DNegs is no longer in your camp, like you're screwed. Am I right, guys? So check out carrotcorner.com if you like the way I think and talk about the game. I have loads of premium courses on there, including the Carrot Poker School, the big, gigantic, comprehensive, all you'll ever need theory course with an exploitative mass data grade as well. I am actually going to take this spot with King 7. And the reason is that we're a little bit deeper, and it's much harder for Villain to A, play poker at this depth, and harder for them to do much in the way of shoving light or anything. Not that they shove light anyway in these spots, but yeah. Normally I go quarter pot. I'm just going like slightly bigger for the stack depth. Oops, I meant to bet turn. I don't really care though, to be honest. Not a huge deal. You can go either way on turn. Better check with this hand. It's so hard for me to be bluffing this spot. No, I can have ace-x actually. Ace-5, ace-4. It's usually better not to take lines that rely on your opponent's raising. Like you could go small, but that relies on them taking like ace-queen and turning it into a bluff. If you know your opponent's that way inclined, it's easily the best play to do that. Like if they start bluffing, they're going to be over bluffing, but most people just never bluff that node, unfortunately. Playing big over bet check here. And ace 10 of hearts is pretty much always going to be big over bet. What do I think Villain was calling turn with an ace 5 hand? Just like one pair on the board generally. I might be off on that though, like some of that's going to fold, but like the pair on the board with redraw, mostly. Some pocket pair as well. I don't think river's great. I think it's close. Something like king x of spades will never fold. Sometimes we'll get stationed by a weak hand anyway. It needs to get through a bit more than 50% to be as good as checking. It might be a mistake actually. Check might be higher EV with that combo. We do win occasionally. And if we do get stationed on turn, we'll run into like quite a few river stations on that node as well. So it might not be right. Might be a bit of an over extension there. Might not be right. King 7's interesting. Like I couldn't really, it was a bit of an awkward SBR, and not awkward in the sense that like it's bad, just that I haven't really played too many hands at that SBR in a 4-bet pot, and so I was like trying to figure out what sizing toolkit I wanted. I was thinking like B33 or B50, like somewhere around there for the most part. I play small raise here and raise a bunch of ace X as well. This is just my general strat against regs. The jack turn is really bad for us. Like ace jack, jack 8, jack 7, 10, 9 all get there. We can still value bet, but I think this is just a mix now. I'm going to go about 50-50 between bet and check. I don't really mind. I don't think it's a mandatory value bet anymore. It's basically just going to be fine in either camp. Threes you can call, you can fold, whatever. And pretty hard for villain to bluff on the jack of spades. Like they're going to have to take, I guess they have like 6-5, 6-4, etc. I don't think my line is going to yield any fold equity from better, really. Not enough anyway. I can claim to have a jack here. I could go all in. So I do block stuff. It's an option. Yeah. We'll chop that up. He should certainly bluff that hand, I think, on that run out. Because, like, in practice, okay, the jack isn't ideal. Maybe he shouldn't, but, like, you need to start eating into the bottom of your range there and turning it into a bluff, right? I mean, he does have some, like, missed low straight draws and stuff, but it doesn't get a lot lower in showdown value than that hand has played. Like, so much stuff just gets there, right? So you have to, like, reevaluate your hand strength, consider bluffing. I think bluffing for villain there, certainly on a non-jack river, like on another, like, random card, is probably good with that hand. Check and donk bet, both viable on 4-3-6. Versus D-Negs heads up. Yeah, I'd like to take D-Negs on. That would be fun. That would definitely be fun. I think I like betting flop this sizing. Checking turn. Calling river, allowing like ace king, no spade, king jack of diamonds to bluff. And still value betting against ace queen and stuff like that, which is blocked heavily. What's it called? Should we cash out, guys? Cash out our 89%. We can run it twice instead. Let's do the honorable thing. Definitely like betting flop, because if you let pot stagnate there, I just don't think it grows often enough. But I like checking turn with the invincible nuts at SBR1 that we've created. Exploitatively, I was just trying to create something closer to SBR1 so that villain is more inclined to jam the river as a bluff rather than bet fold half pot or something as a bluff. I was just thinking about how I get him to invest the maximum amount of money with the most bluffs, because if he has ace queen or something, we'll do pretty well with just bet flop, check back turn, shove river anyway. So just thinking about, like, there's no way you're actually indifferent there with your flop sizing. Like, even though it's easy to be like, oh, this is my standard sizing, blah, blah, blah. Humans aren't going to perfectly react to the differences in stacked pot ratio there, like being a bit deeper, being in the 4-bet pot, etc. So you do want to think about it, and you do want to try and plan around it a little bit, I think. Deep here with ace jack offsuit. I'm going to go either way here, I think. you're meant to 4-bet a bit more suited stuff at this SPR. But I'm in position and I'm just not that worried about implied odds, reverse implieds, etc. I'm going to mostly just call here, though. Obviously close. Very good board for range. I think I will pure bet this combo, actually, and start with small and just go from there. We have the jack of spades. We have a very nice hand to turn into a bluff later. I wonder if I should start sizing up. I don't think so, because I also just want to include like 10s, jacks, queens, etc. that I have at this SPR. So I think I'll go third pot. Sizing up's interesting. When villain check calls, I don't actually expect a lot of ace king, ace queen to check call 9-8-5. I think they're probably weighted more towards scared overpair. Also because we're deep, I expect that to be the case. So blocking any folds they do have a bit here with the ace, and thinking they might be a bit overprotected on this line at the stack depth, I am just going to check here. I don't think this is a spot I want to bluff, actually, just given how they're constructing here. I could be wrong about ace-king like folding flop for B33. I just think it will a bit more often. Now they're much more likely to have ace-king. I think they can still have some traps, 10x of spades, jack 10, etc. I block folds. I don't know how often ace-king, ace-jack just calls flop, really. On 9-8-5, I don't think that's that good. He does have the ace of spades, though, in his defense. But yeah, I wasn't anticipating all that many bigger ace-x there in that line. But maybe the play is to just size up on flop and like bring stacks into play and start. Yeah, I think that would be better. Like just go a bit bigger on flop. Because if we have jacks, 10s, queens, etc., we can just go bigger on flop and check turn and just like reach an investment ceiling. We're not going to get raised at the SPR, like hardly ever. People just aren't going to mess with that. So we just go bigger on flop, and then we continue to threaten on a lot of turn cards, and we can be more safe in the knowledge that they are just folding ace queen, ace king immediately. So I think it's the better play. I should have gone a bit bigger here with 7-6 if I'm betting turn, but whatever. I go for triple here. Calls turn very quickly. Sizing wise, I think pot's totally fine. %, fold equity, unblocking draws, under pairs, etc. Should be alright. Don't think they really have a queen ever at that timing. A jack, yeah, that's probably mostly gonna call us, but it's fine. $2.3 from the cutoff. No, generally just playing men everywhere. I mean, you can. All these things are like totally fine. It's no problem. Didn't used to insult players who use RNGs. I wouldn't say insult is the right word. I think there's a time and a place to use an RNG. You'll see I click this pretty rarely, and I only do it where I think I'm indifferent. Where I've taken issue with RNGs before, and it is viable to not have an RNG, by the way, but where I've taken issue with them before is when people rely on them to make decisions for them in spots where they're just not indifferent at all. So here, this particular combo, I'm just playing pure raise against the lazy range bet. There's nothing wrong with using an RNG if you know how to use it. Like, it's totally fine. This spot's interesting. Like, our hand here is massive, massive equity, and it's a very good turn card for range. I also think it's an overfolded spot. And SPR-wise, we're going to want to go big here when we bet. Something like this, I think, is about right. Maybe slightly smaller than this was good, but like we can treat the 5 as a hybrid here. Like we're cleaning up equity, we're getting folds from a bunch of better hands, we're denying equity, and there's some worse hands that might call, like ace 4, 4x of spades, ace queen of spades, stuff like that. With no spade in hand and like some trace of showdown here, I don't think we should actually realize showdown here, but I think this hand's probably a check. It might actually still be one of these combos that shoves. We don't have a lot of one spade hands at all. This could just be a jam, actually. I'm not sure. I should have thought about this a bit longer. We have some like ace-5 offsuit, ace of spades, which makes like the purest, clearest bluff. Obviously, I'm not calling here because there's a massive absence of air when villain gets the river in this line. They are probably meant to bluff like ace-4 by now, like it's absolute bottom. But I don't expect that to happen. It's not enough of range anyway. Diego says, if they have scared overpairs, won't they be somewhat likely to fall by river if you put max pressure on them if they're already scared on flop? Yeah, possibly. Like, you could just take a completely kamikaze, like I'm bluffing everything and I'm just going huge and I'm just exploiting line. Like, you could try that. I think there are definitely turn cards that increase fold equity a bit more. I'd be more inclined to do it pure on with that hand. And the hand is not a fantastic candidate, but maybe. Maybe, I don't know. But I think I should go bigger just so I can, like, threaten stacks a bit more easily. I should have just raised the jack-4 instead of timing out, but it's answering chat. The 3x pot check or giant check raise. Jack 8 there for the most part. I don't feel like I play very well today, Eric. I'm just a bit tired. Like, I'm feeling a bit not on A game mode, certainly, but I appreciate it. I think when you're streaming as well, like, and there'll be some people watching, I'm a bit less, like, inclined to just take some, like, all-out, absolutely gigantic overbluff line versus a reg. I mean, it's, if you have anonymity, I can't say that word, then it's a lot more defensible. The villain should do a lot of check here. And I will reopen basically very good a6, 9 plus. Looks like a combo that should be bluffing river pure, I think, on that run out. So possibly just an under bluffing opponent. So these days, the toolkit I'm using on this board is just like one big blind. Queens, either way, is fine. Let's call this time. This is the player that makes some content. They're a bit more on the sort of exploitative side. Should have bombed river ace jack versus ace jack. Yeah, I mean, I didn't really know he had ace jack, but I guess my read was off. I just think on a texture that wet, a lot of ace queen, ace king should be folding flop, but maybe it is just a big part of their range anyway. Maybe 33 here. He may be checking range here, like that's a valid strategy, but queens with a club is one of the highest frequency bet hands that we can have. I think we'll just jam at this SPR. I think we beat some overpair. Have a bunch of redraw as well with this particular hand. Yep, let's go twice, that's fine. Chop chop, as they say. I think you want to jam flop there. If villain is bluffing, like low EV bluffing, lower EV bluffing, like ace 5, ace king, something like that, The fold equity is far from useless. I think you can get it in ahead of like jacks and stuff at some frequency. I think jacks can go for check raise there. And if they have aces or kings, we're not folding too many turn cards anyway. Yeah, I think I prefer jam to call. But aces, it would be different. Just rolled another 19. Pretty sure I clicked it. Rebet on that roll. Gonna isolate this guy. This is the Queen 10 guy from the start of the stream. I'm gonna actually add a little bit of juice as well. Just size up slightly more than normal here. Is NL more 100 more difficult to beat than 510 at local casino? I don't know about that actually. I think deep we do want to call 10-9 here. I'd expect most people to be kind of straightforward in this situation. B10, huh? Which raise do I want to play with this hand? I think I do want to play a little bit of raise with this hand actually. Even in position. Especially the stack depth. Like I have ace 10, 10s, 8s. This hand can make jacks, queens, kings fold. It can get useful fold equity against like king jack at some point. Hands like that. I think it should be rolled into the aggression line at some frequency. Now, what do we want to do though? I think I'm just going to try and take a very scary line here and continue this bluff. I'm going to go for like something economical though, because I think there'll be quite a lot of inelasticity here. We block 10s, it becomes more and more important to block the top of villain's range in these spots as you get deeper. It's not impossible that we make an ace fold here. Kings, queens, etc. The flop raise was quite small. I expect those to fold. And like, if not this, what are our bluffs actually meant to be here? What's our fold equity like against like ace king on this node? I wonder. I don't think we have any showdown. But ace queen is no longer folding. I think this might just be too optimistic now. That hand might just fold. I don't know. That line is adventurous. The queen river kind of sucks because all of the combos of ace queen that I've got there are now never folding. Ace king is ace king. It's SPR 0.5. Like it's possibly never folding. But it's a nut blocking hand with 5 outs deep. I think it's the kind of hand that takes that line, or should take that line. Generally in this pool, I don't feel that good about bluffing at that SPR because people are just a bit like gambly, committed, punty after they call turn. Turn is the spot I'm really trying to like generate the scared fold on, because it's implied that I'll be jamming river quite a lot. I could have gone a bit smaller on turn actually, a bit smaller on flop, a bit smaller on turn maybe, but I quite like the line with that hand at some frequency at least. Otherwise, like, I don't think we're bluffing at the right frequency or the right hands if we don't do that. Sup, Extra, how's it going? Hey, Kian, how's it going? Welcome, guys. It's 3. It's going to get a bit of 3-bet. On a 12, especially. I don't know if they think they're inducing with B10 on flop and that's why they're getting sticky on turn. It could be. But yeah, I do think against B10 you definitely want to be playing raise with your nut stuff. That hand has just got to be going for it at some frequency. It's just not high enough EV call. Sup Sultan's a Swing, one of my favourite songs to this day. It's a recreational player. Normally I start with checking these spots, but I'm actually going to start with bet against the recreational here. I just prefer it a little bit, because there's just many hands that check back but also call. Like, and I'm going to just size up turn here because stuff like 8s, 9s, like villain almost certainly has like 8s or 9s here, or ace jack or ace 10 or king 10, queen 10, queen jack, something like this. I think my hand is still good for B75-ish stuff on river. Something like this against recreational, especially after that turn timing. I think I can just go a bit thinner. Yeah, just like absolute station. Like the 41 VPIP after they've called twice, it's generally not a spot you want to triple. Like the timing is a green light to triple, but the VPIP is a red light. So yeah, fold equity can be really low there. That was what put me off in the other hand as well, like the 10-9. If we were even deeper, like I think I like going for it, because then I'd be really confident the ace-king folds, but like the bulk of villain's range is ace-queen, ace-king on that note. Not so much ace-jack, because ace-jack off just shouldn't really 4-bet as much. I guess it can. But at that stack depth, yeah, maybe it can actually. I didn't think about ace-jack off being in there. But yeah, I think getting 33% is optimistic actually. As played there, that's what we need to shove to break even. It's an interesting hand, I don't know. We know this guy's like kind of bad and volatile, but still, it's 5-4, and he's kind of aggro, bad and volatile so far. Not bad, I shouldn't say bad, but like loose, like too loose in certain spots, let's say. I don't know if they're bad yet. I thought Pete's game was super theoretical. So the baseline that I go off of is super theoretical. Like the way I learn poker, teach poker, think about poker is theoretical. Like I think having that theory understanding is very important. Like understanding that this is like a slightly losing call at equilibrium or something, like very slightly losing, or that this is like a break-even open, but then definitely doing it because recreational player, and definitely being in it to win it because recreational player. Raise flop is actually interesting here. I should have given this more thought. I'm not going to try and bluff this node. We do have a bunch of showdown here. And equally, I just don't expect it to be a great spot. Bet check bet in the King River. I just don't think there's enough air now for us to win against. So easy fold. But yeah, I think raising flop is good. Just small raise because like they're just overextending. They're betting too often. We have the deuce of diamonds. We have the maximum, which just means villain's flush draws are like slightly lower equity. We have the maximum, like maximally vulnerable pocket pair. Like I think raise flop there is actually better. Small raise flop, check turn, go from there. Sometimes win against ace queen, ace king, deny a ton of equity. Sometimes bink a boat in a giant pot. Yeah, I think raise is actually higher EV than call there. I was just a bit too quick. Why did I bet the turn in the 10-9 hand? To generate folds from jacks, queens, kings, and ace-x that decides it doesn't want to play for stacks and is very often going to have to. I think you can easily overestimate or underestimate how often people do fold an ace in that spot. That villain didn't. And another reason I don't like bluffing river is I think that a lot of the people who will fold ace-jack on river might have just folded turn, honestly. Why not check back turn jam river? I just don't think that line generates. I don't think it's very believable. I don't think it generates that much fold equity, basically. Some 3-bet with 8s here, not a ton. I think I'm still going to 3-bet. Because this guy looks loose enough to cold call 3-bets. And ace queen is just like not an amazing hand to play in a small pot multi-way. I am all for like calling a lot of hands on this node though in general. With this player in the big blind, but I think with ace queen off, I dominate enough of the cold calls. I think I still just want to 3-bet. Why doesn't Cruiser20 post new videos on YouTube anymore? No idea. I've not really spoken to Cruiser in a while. He's probably just busy grinding, to be honest. Like, Cruiser's definitely a poker player first and foremost, and a content creator secondary. Secondly. God, I cannot talk today. What about set up a higher SPR and jam river? That's an option. I mean, I think, like, you can't have your cake and eat it, right? Like, the more fold equity you want to get sooner in the hand, the bigger you should go, the more you want that to be later, the smaller you should go, but it's kind of a trade-off. If I go kind of small on turn with the intention of always betting river, that has its price as well, right? Like you just run into ace queen, you get stacked, like it has its price. You get less folds. Like I also don't think that like kings and stuff hangs around on turn really ever in the human domain. With sevens with a diamond against half pot here, we have to continue. I just don't think that happens. It's one of the more vulnerable pocket pairs. Like, it's probably It's probably with the diamond calling it some low frequency. But I'm just going to fold it. It might be calling it a low frequency on the turn with the diamond and not without, would be my guess. You can't fold all of your pocket pair on turn there, you're not supposed to. Sevens is just more vulnerable to villain's bluffs. It's going to get outdrawn more often by like 10-9 and stuff if that is betting turn. So I'd rather have nines or something, but that said, certain people are going to overbluff that node, so I don't hate like calling down there. But sevens diamond, it's not a bad hand to call down with, honestly. Ace 10's like break even. We'll just focus on this hand over here, and we're gonna do a few different things. I'll just start with pot against recreational here. Could start with smaller as well, or check. After you've potted and got this turn and they like don't snap check turn, I definitely think check is better than bet here. And after you've potted flop as well, like you're just gonna, it's gonna be a stronger range when it quickly calls flop. Like your fold equity on bet check bet's just not gonna be as good. Like if you're used to playing a B33 game, and then you do switch to like a big bet game on flop, you're gonna find that like your bet check bet lines just don't work as often because they just have more like top pair, more high absolute hand strength hands landing on river basically. Hey Tom, what's going on? Have I tried coin poker? No, I've not. I can't really be bothered playing on other sites. I'm playing mostly for content, right? So I just want to stream something watchable for you guys. More than anything here. That's what I'm trying to do. So I'm quite content just playing here. Sadly finished my coffee. Guys, if you play bridge, check out Ignite Your Bridge YouTube channel. I've set it up. I set it up a while ago, but I've decided I'm going to start using it to document my bridge journey. It's kind of like my passion, right? Is in bridge right now. And ace 10, I don't really care. Actually, I'll just fold here. The reason being I can see this guy in position just being a bit sticky to 3-bets, so just passing on a break-even hand seems right. If fold equity is a bit reduced. The only reason is like he's 4-bet ace-jack off, he's been a bit sticky in that hand, obviously. Not that he should have folded turn, I'm not saying that, but he could have and he didn't, so that just like moves him a bit towards being more stationary. But check out Ignite Your Bridge. I'm going to document my bridge journey on there. Sevens, I honestly don't know. I think it's like super close. Fold, call, both okay. 8s, 9s starts to get more pure. Gonna just go like min thin against this guy. He's playing 31 VPIP. He's probably just playing very badly. Skill edge in position. Queen 8 sucks, but I think I can make this winning. Tiny bet or check? I'm gonna go for tiny bet. Just like prod and sort of push a few buttons here, hopefully. Snap calls. I'm just gonna like hope to get called down now by like jacks or whatever. 16, 32. Something like this. Okay. Expect a lot of merges here. Like obviously that sucks that we run into that hand sometimes, but I expect like king jack and stuff to shove some draws. We want the board to pair, ideally, one time. So kind of rough cooler. I mean, running into like trips over trips there, yeah. You could say it's what I deserve for 3-betting queen 8, right? Fair enough. But I think overall, like, it's a lot of big blinds just flowing towards reg in position, playing against fish out of position there. Just gotta knuckle down, guys, in these sessions. Keep playing. Why do you say the 41 VPIP is a red light for triple barrel? Because when people have called twice that are volatile players... My computer freezing, or is GG freezing? I think GG's freezing. That was weird. Are we still live, guys? Did anything go wrong with the stream? Are we still good? This is close. I'm just gonna rip it. I don't really care. Guys, not like a huge net or anything like that. And we'll run it twice. So the reason I said that we should give up. What is going on here? Is it my connection? Sorry if the stream's lagging, guys. I don't know what it is. Whether it's me, it's probably the stupid internet, to be honest. Yeah, it's not a good hand to call down either, Blaze of Glory. It's just like indifferent. Like it being not a bad hand to call down just means like it's not losing to call down in theory. That's all that means. Any date for the mystery course? Neither of those words is mystery, by the way. No, but we are going to do early access. There's no way I'm going to wait until it's all done to release it. You're going to be able to watch it as it's being made. But I do aim to release like 40% of it in the initial release or something like that. Something like that. So you're going to have early access to that course. And then there'll be like an episode appearing every week. That's the idea. On this particular turn card, like ace, queen, ace, king, ace, jack should bet pretty often. I just think b75 or something like that's probably the right sizing for river. There's a lot of combos of like, especially with the quick turn check, a lot of combos of like ace 4, ace 5, kings, queens, jacks. You could maybe go pot as well. I think it's okay to go pot there. What's the easiest way to note recreational players in fast build games? That they don't have a full stack, basically. Also, like giant pre-flop sizes, weird lines like donking pot or you on the flop. Any non-standard line that a reg would never take. Like, honestly, any line a reg that would never take, it's almost certainly a recreational. That's not too strong of a read at all. It's so easy to get results oriented in poker, right? Especially when you run like a bluff for 120 big blinds and it doesn't work. It's very easy. I'm gonna go half pot on this pair turn. Leave the door open for like a bit of reg spew. Generally, their range is going to be very weak there. 10-3 is not really an openness, but I didn't notice this guy's 17.2 big blinds. I just saw a recreational stack. I saw it was short. I didn't quite compute what it was exactly. Think this backdoor and just like general hand is fine for this line. I don't know, there might be a thing where like hearts shouldn't, but yeah, it's alright. Now I'm going to be a little bit more equity driven than this. And generally on river here, we're playing like pot check. I don't think it's going to do well. The general way I'm playing this spot is to give up this node against like an average reg. And the connection's going again. I might just wrap this up, guys, because the connection's like really unstable and like timing out, like just getting like, I don't know, is the stream suffered? Like, have you guys like noticed the stream breaking or is it just GG? Just trying to figure out whether we should keep playing here or not. How come your 3-bets are smaller than standard GTO 3-bets? Because it doesn't make a big difference. And keeping the pot below a certain rake cap is fine if you're playing like a small C, is good if you're playing a small C-bet on GG, like there's a certain rake threshold. But equally, I just want to 3-bet very wide, and when you're in position, like you're using a linear range, a lot of the hands in there are just doing it for isolation purposes. They're not thick value. They're not like that polar. They're not really doing much that makes them want to go giant. It doesn't matter. These things aren't important, guys. This isn't where you should be focusing. This isn't where your EV is being won or lost, right? It's mostly going to be like understanding ranges, like where do you have fold equity, like, and on that river, if you're playing B200 on flop against this pool, you have to understand that they're getting to the river with tons of top pair that should be indifferent and second pair, and they're going to have to fold a decent amount of that to another pot size bet. But they're going to probably default towards overcalling that node after they call a flop B200. It's just how human nature works. So like there's a baseline toolkit, and then I recommend, like, because you're playing kind of funky lines, your opponents are going to play unbalanced against it. No lag. Okay, so it's just GG basically is lagging, which is kind of shocking. Like we're just going to time out another hand that's a profitable open because of it. Not ideal. Look at this. Like we've pressed open, it's just like timing down. Might have to call it, guys. Unless this resolves. Yeah, code Crush20 is live at Carrot Corner right now if you're looking to get a discount on any courses, if you're looking to finally take the plunge, start a proper poker education, do the Carrot Poker School, or whatever it may be. This is obviously a joke, but what can you do? Today, things did not go our way, like small losing session of, I think, like a buy-in the end is all. But yeah, we took some ambitious lines that didn't work out, but that's how it goes sometimes. It's just so silly. Hopefully next time we do Crush 100, we will not have these disconnection issues from the site. I'm pretty sure it's GG's fault, but yeah. Yeah, I think for our EV's sake and sanity's sake, we should probably call it. I've got some other work I could be doing. Not that I really want to do that other work, but playing on a lagging site's not going to be fun either. Yeah, I'll see what shorts I can generate from this. Probably the 10-9 hand for sure, but I'll see what other things I can send to the editor. Thank you for joining, guys. Sorry it's a short one, but yeah, disconnection issues, not really good for playing poker. I will see you next time. More streams later in the week, I hope. Take it easy.